Hey YouTube, I'm doing an oil change in my Pontiac Vibe today. Same engine as the Toyota Matrix. I believe the Corolla also has the same engine. So a lot of different cars use the same engine, but at any rate, let me show you how to do an oil change on this Pontiac Vibe. Alright, first you need supplies. This takes 4 quarts of oil, so I got that, plus you get an oil filter. 2 jack stands, and I like to use cardboard since I work on concrete, just in case there's a spill. You need a funnel, socket, and it takes a 14 millimeter socket on the oil plug, pan, something to catch, and then a jack stand. You don't absolutely need a jack stand, there's enough room underneath there to do it without this, but it just makes it a lot easier. So let's get started. Okay, first thing you want to do is jack it up. There's a metal piece right in the middle, in the center there. That's what I always jack it up on. You just need to jack it up high enough so that you can get your jack stands underneath there. Okay, next put the jack stand in on both sides. And now you can let the car down. And it'll sit on the jack stands. Next step, take that off. That'll help the oil flow a little better. Alright, now that you got it jacked up and you got the jack stand removed, it's time to get under here. And what I do is put my cardboard down underneath the oil pan. I'll show you where that's at. Okay, there's the oil pan right there. And that is the bolt. So I'm going to be taking that off here in a second once I put my oil pan underneath this. And next step is to take the oil plug out. And depending on how long you warmed your engine up for, oil could be kind of warm. This is best to wear gloves because the oil is going to come spilling out here as soon as you take the plug out. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so you let that oil drain for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we'll put the plug back in. Now that the oil is about done dripping, I'm going to remove this oil filter. Now these aren't always you can't always take these off with your hand, so sometimes you need a little tool to take this off, but in this instance I was able to loosen it with my hand, so I don't need to use a special tool. So we'll take that off, and you want to make sure, since it's upside down, there's going to be oil that comes out. So you want to make sure that you've got the last of the oil drippings and this oil filter kind of over this oil pan. So make sure you got a nice big oil pan. That'll help. Alright. Okay, that's broke free. And as you can see, there's plenty of oil coming out of there. Okay, so I just set that upside down there. This is a good time to have your handy dandy rag available. And just let that sit for a couple minutes. And then just wipe all that down once you're done. Once that's done draining. Alright, so now that the drip has slowed down significantly, I'm first going to put in the new oil filter. So what you want to do is just get a dab of the old oil and rub it on that gasket right there. So just get it, that's going to help it seal. Although there's probably enough oil up there to create a seal. And then just screw it in. You can generally just give that a good hand tighten. Alright. Next, I'm going to wipe down the area by the oil filter. A lot of oil is just sitting up there, and I'm just going to kind of wipe it down a little bit. Alright. Next, I'm going to put this plug back in. That goes here. Okay, so put that back in. Rub all that extra oil off. And just going to tighten it down. Probably should have a torque wrench on this, but just give it a good hand crank. You don't need to overdo it. Okay, so we are done underneath the car, but I'm going to leave this set up until I finish pouring the oil in up top. Okay, now it's time to put the oil in. Now this cap here says 5W30, so that's when I put it in it. I have seen some people recommend you put in 10W30, but I've never had any problems whatsoever, so I'm just using Quaker State 5W30. AutoZone had a nice deal on it, 5 quarts and a filter for 19 bucks. Of course, I only need 4 quarts, so I got an extra quart. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I use it for next oil change. So I just pour it in, nice and steady. Quart number 2. Quart number 3. And quart number 4. I believe I read this takes 3.9 quarts, but I'm not going to keep a tenth of a quart in the bottle, so I just put the 4 quarts in. While you're putting the oil in, you want to check down here for drips. Check the oil filter, check the oil plug, see if any oil is dripping. It shouldn't be, but if something's not tight enough, you'll see the oil drips here. Put the oil cap back in and use this time just to check your fluids, see how your power steering fluid's looking, you know, windshield wiper fluid, the coolant, take a look at your battery, just look around, see if you see anything that's out of sorts, look at your tubes, your pipes, see if they look good. Alright, next let's get underneath here. Okay, so your last step is to put the jack under the front here and get out your jack stands, and then you're good to go for another 3,000 miles. Make sure you take your oil to your nearest recycling center so they can dispose of it for you. Last step, jack it up, take the jack stands out, lower it back down, and you're good to go. Give me a thumbs up if this is helpful. RobbieTwoScraps out of here.